everyone. Welcome to another episode of Film Seizure. I am Jason Oliver, joined again and as always by my two co-hosts, Jeff Arbuckle and Chuck Moore. Say hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jason. I didn't do the thing. I didn't do it.
I didn't do the thing. I thought I should come in with the anvil, but I thought better of it. Chuck, say hello.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
He didn't do the thing either.
He didn't do the thing. And by anvil, I mean the pounding score from our movie this week, Terminator 2.
Judgment Day. This is the movie
Judgment Day.
This
Chuck,
was the movie that.
Are you going to do the thing? There it is. Ding!
This was the movie that taught me how to spell judgment without the E. That is the proper way of spelling judgment.
This is the movie that taught me that there is no fate but what we make.
Well, until a later sequel.
So what is this? 30th anniversary for
it is, yeah.
Ish. It was earlier this year, I believe.
Yep, July 3rd, I think it came out July 3rd.
Yes, that sounds right. I saw this movie in the theater. It was one of the first rated R movies I ever saw in the theater. I had already seen the first Terminator, of course, but only on like HBO or something several times. Was a big fan of that movie and the Arnold Schwarzenegger, who had amassed quite a career even to this point. He was pretty much a megastar by the time Terminator 2 came out.
We've said before, it's like, this is Arnold at his top, and I mean, this is the tippy top Arnold. This is number one movie at the box office for a while, for the rest of that summer almost. Arnold. And it's like by the time we get to like when we talked about like Last Action Hero, he was still riding that wave, but he had that was kind of the start of the of the downward turn.
Yep.
Not that it went all that down. I mean, he did become the governor of the fifth largest economy in the world.
And I mean, I would say probably his last like great big movie was True Lies, which
absolutely
came after Last Action Hero, but yeah, after True Lies, I mean, it went downhill fast. Yeah.
Eraser still made some good money, but it wasn't like. But by the time you get to Sixth Day, it's you're getting into the name's not quite enough anymore.
Oh yeah. I agree. I think Terminator 2 is the peak of what you think of when you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger action star.
He's a badass, but also a good guy.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's a kind of an interesting thing, right? So, for the three people who are listening who haven't seen Terminator, he was the bad guy in Terminator, and then he comes back and he's the good guy in Terminator 2. Threw some people for a loop. Threw Arnold Schwarzenegger for a loop when he read the script. He said, "I love it, James. I just don't get one thing. I don't kill anybody." And James Cameron said, "I know, it's great, isn't it? No one will see it coming."
I would argue that he kills people in this movie.
I would too. He definitely maims and cripples a lot of people.
Oh boy, he is personally responsible for the boom of the healthcare industry.
I was going to say he's responsible for all the knee replacements in the LA area for the next 3 years.
I was going to say I wouldn't have a knee replacement if it wasn't for Arnold.
Yeah,
they never would have
the
figured
technology.
Out that.
Yeah. Actually, you have a Terminator knee. It's like that's how far the tech, like the Dyson Corp.
Yeah,
I was going to say
pivoted. It pivoted into
all
knee
the
replacements.
Work. Yep, I was just going to say all the work that they do to destroy Skynet in this movie. It gets created by the people who made knee replacements.
Totally. Dyson's assistant was like, I based the entirety of my work on it.
And then they also made some awesome fans and vacuums.
Yeah.
Very futuristic business model. Yeah, it's there's a sweetness to this movie that shouldn't be expected.
Yes.
This was it really is. Okay, so John Connor is the son of a man from the future and his mom, Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton, and he's never known his dad. He's never really had a father figure, and this is a movie about a kid who gets some value out of a robot, and he gets a father figure out of this. There's kind of it's a very interesting, unexpected sci-fi action movie just on that alone, on that theme alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's
I nailed it. I nailed it so hard.
I mean,
he has nothing more to say.
The first movie was this kind of dark sci-fi slasher film, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, I think it even defined its own genre in the club name in the movie, Tech Noir. Right?
Yeah.
And then this movie was something completely different. Very much a big action movie, very bright and sunny. A lot of it takes place during the daytime, right? Very much different. I mean, they kind of flip everything on its head. And there's even that dichotomy between the two Terminators. There's the big, huge, hulking Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then the lean, sleek, kind of menacing Robert Patrick, or as I like to refer to him, the handsome Ray Liotta.
But not Ray Liotta.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the only thing I know Robert Patrick from, moreover than even Terminator 2, is Double Dragon.
Oh, shit, yeah.
When he had his goofy frosted tips.
Dude, I don't remember that movie much at all.
There's nothing really to remember about that movie. So,
but James Cameron's pretty good at that, right? Taking a sequel to an established film. I guess there aren't a ton of examples, but if you think of like Aliens, for example,
sure,
it is a total departure from the first film, right? It kind of moves from horror to all-out action war film, whereas this moved from what you said, tech noir, to I don't know what you call this film, just
action sci-fi.
Action sci-fi with a little buddy cop comedy in it, almost
a little bit for sure. And then I mean, you're right, and also with Aliens, Cameron again there introduced sort of that familial aspect to the relationships and the themes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exploring the motherhood and all of that with Ripley, having lost her child to old age, basically, and then filling that void with Newt. And then with this, you obviously have John Connor, who sees in a machine the father he never had. So very, very touching stuff. And in between those two movies, you had The Abyss, which was kind of about the family that you create with the people that you spend your time with, right?
Right. And
then also repairing and finding the love again that you may have lost in a spouse or a partner.
It's a pretty good stretch for Cameron, movie-wise. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
And then in Titanic 2,
I almost made that joke earlier, but I left it.
Yeah. It's like if I leave this, Jeff will
grab it.
Jeff will back clean up on this one. No, you're right. It's Chuck. Did you see this movie in the theater?
Pretty sure yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure yes. Yeah.
It's kind of funny that for at least 20 or 25 years, I have been misattributing my theater experience on this movie. So I remember July 3rd, early afternoon, July 3rd, standing in line at the General Cinema outside. That was like the line was all the way down the parking lot to get in because Terminator 2 came out. And I was there with my dad. And I always said I went and saw Terminator 2 with my dad. That is not true. I forgot that on the same day as Terminator 2's release was Naked Gun 2.
Huh.
So that's the movie I went and saw with my dad. And then later went, I think, either that same night or the next day went and saw Terminator 2.
But the line around the block was for Terminator 2, not
mostly,
Naked Gun 2.
mostly, yeah.
I doubt it.
Although
Yeah.
I know when Robert Goulet's in a movie, it really brings the people and fills the seats. No, I mean, both movies I think did pretty well, but no, I always misattributed the fact that I saw Terminator 2 on opening day with my dad, which I always thought was peculiar because, like, Dad likes movies, but he wouldn't have gone to see Terminator 2 on opening day. And obviously for me to be there, that would have been one thing, but no, we went and saw Naked Gun 2.5.
I also saw that in the theater, but not to derail this conversation, Naked Gun 1 and 2.5 are probably the movies I've seen more than any other films in history. Like, I would say easily Naked Gun 2.5 I've seen a couple hundred times.
Wow.
I watched it like 90 times in one summer. Every night me and my buddy would put it on. Every single night. Anyway, go back to Terminator 2.
So but no, this is a quite special movie for you, isn't it, Jason?
I mean, yeah, I there are two movie franchises that I like a lot, and it's this one and the Alien franchise. Now, admittedly, both of those start to taper off in quality after Cameron's entries.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say after the second ones.
Yeah, after Cameron's entries. However, I think Alien had a little bit more legs than Terminator.
There's easy explanation for that is that Alien never wrote itself into
like a time loop.
Yeah, it never wrote itself into a corner that it absolutely can't get out of.
That's
like Terminator 2 is the end of the Terminator movies, in my opinion. Everything that came after it is not good.
I've seen all of them, even the TV show, and I've always said that I'd rather another shitty Terminator sequel than no sequel at all. I'll watch it. I don't give a shit.
After Genesis, I'm like, I should have known better with Dark Fate. I should have known better. Although I will say I didn't hate Dark Fate.
Dark Fate had some things in it that I liked.
But it starts funky, and it has a hard time recovering. But whatever. But like Genesis was like, I'm good. I'm good. Never again, please.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about Terminator has like just stuck with me since I've been a kid. Man, I don't. Did you either of you ever go to Universal Studios and see the Terminator movie thing, the 3D thing they did there? It was awesome.
I think so. I was more into the King Kong thing and the Beetlejuice.
They had a movie, and it had like live action component to it as well, and it was in 3D, and it was so cool, man. And I loved that. I don't know. It's always just kind of sparked my imagination. It's probably this and Back to the Future are also like the reasons I fucking love time travel movies, right? they kind of got my gears going on time paradox and just what that means and the what the rules of time travel would have to be, right, for it to be feasible.
What did you say the other movie was?
Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. Not Star Trek 4?
Not as much. No. I like Star Trek 4, but
I should go on the record and say I hate time travel movies. But I think you know this, Jason.
I do. I love them.
Yeah,
I do.
But wait, Chuck, you're also a big fan of both Terminator and Back to the Future, though, right?
I'm a big fan of Back to the Future. That is true. I am a fan of Terminator and Terminator 2. I thought those handled the time travel okay. So if we're just leaving it in those two, I can deal with it. Anything after that, it's like, okay, you've already concluded the premise, right? The pieces can't be picked up unless you find the arm and the gear, or however they explain.
Right.
I can't even remember how they explain it in the next movies, how the shit still goes down.
The third movie was it was going to happen anyway, and Chris Hardwick
we just delayed it. Delayed it because the technology was always going to catch up, right? People were always going to figure out how to make the machines, and it makes sense. I mean, and so what you end up with the Terminator movies are all these closed-looped movies that just bump themselves out, right? And they become less and less interesting because of it.
Howdy. Yeah.
And then they tried to like jump ahead and do the actual kind of like after the Judgment Day kind of stuff where we're living in a world where it's man versus machine, which could have been interesting if they wrote a halfway decent script, and they didn't.
They didn't even try.
That got real weird. So yeah, I honestly think the best sequel after the second one was the TV show, flat out, because they can actually like develop an interesting ongoing story without having to create a finale with each movie, right?
Right. That was Sarah Connor Chronicles?
Sarah Connor Chronicles, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw that. I never watched that.
It's a pretty good watch. But anyway, I guess we should talk about this movie.
Sure.
This movie, Terminator 2, I mean, this was a juggernaut. First movie made, I don't know, like $90 million, which is pretty good.
Pretty good for 1984.
Yeah, pretty damn good. But I think like James Cameron said, it's not like it was Star Wars money or anything. And James Cameron didn't own any of the rights to Terminator. He had to sell them to make the movie, and he was happy to do so. But then along came a production company called Carolco, and they bought the rights, the sequel rights, I believe, from Hemdale to make Terminator 2. They bought it for $15 million. So the guy who was like the co-founder of Carolco was like, we've already spent $15 million and we don't even have anything yet other than the rights, right? So they were already thinking, oh shit, But I mean, that's also a pretty big vote of confidence that you have that this property can go somewhere. And they offer James Cameron $6 million, I believe, to write and direct, and he said pretty much yes on the spot. and he got to work on the script. The script, I kind of had a few different variations, but he was really keen on continuing the technology that he had started to develop, and his team has started to develop from the Abyss with the liquid CGI.
Yeah, that still looks good.
It does. There's a couple moments where it's kind of like, it's a bit wonky, but I mean, it's a 30-year-old movie.
Right.
So he called up his visual effects guy who did the work on the Abyss. He's like, what if we did something for this Terminator and just sprinkled it throughout the movie? Could we make it work on this budget and in this amount of time? And the guy was like, let me get back to you tomorrow. So the guy crunched the numbers, and he's like, we can do it, but we have to do it sparingly, and we have to be very intentional about where we spend the money on the effects, right? And it ended up, I think, being around 42 CGI effects in Terminator 2, which was a huge increase from the Abyss, which I believe had about 12 or 13 computer-generated effects. The rest then were supplemented with practical effects by Stan Winston's team.
The one shot that I always think is the most impressive with the effects is when Robert Patrick is gooing his way into the helicopter, and the whole time you see the helicopter, the guy in the helicopter with him, you see his reflection. Yeah, that's some good stuff. That is Oscar worthy.
I think all the like metallic squib hits on him look awesome. I think a lot of those might have been practical even.
Yeah, because it seemed as though you very rarely saw him get shot. You just saw the after effect, and then you see him gooing back together, which is
Mhm.
just an animation.
Yep.
Yeah.
We should probably mention before we get into the meat and potatoes here that there are two versions. Might actually be three versions,
I think
three
there's
cuts
three. Yeah.
of this movie. I'm not quite sure what the third cut is, but um, Jeff and I, for the purposes of a rewatch, we both ended up watching the special edition. Chuck watched the theatrical.
Yeah.
I thought that I had kind of like pretty much become what's the word? Become kind of just used to the special edition and wouldn't be able to pick out all the parts, but I'm pretty sure I picked them all out. And Jeff, you said before we started recording that you thought the special edition, a lot of special edition stuff felt unnecessary and fucked up the pacing, and I kind of agree.
Yeah, it's the primary extra scenes. The only one that I think is halfway
I bet we
interesting is Data's emotion chip.
Yep, me too. I like that scene a lot.
That's way more interesting than in Star Trek Generations.
I don't like the scene in the hospital at the beginning with
Kyle Reese.
With Kyle Reese, I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I didn't like that either because one, how can she be getting that message that John's the target other than just her own psychosis?
Right.
Two, we got another dream scene at the playground.
Right, it stops.
The better one, yeah, but the better one is the better one's later.
Yeah.
But
I also like it too because she talks to her doctor about the dream, and she describes it for you.
Yeah.
Before you see it, and I like that. I like that because it reinforces it. I mean that we'll get there, but that's one of the most harrowing sequences in sci-fi history, in my opinion.
What was there was an extra scene with
Dyson
not wanting to take his kids to, I don't know,
Splash Paradise or whatever.
Thunder Thighs or whatever they call that place.
Thunder Thighs?
Thunder Thighs, yeah. Thunder Mountains. I don't know, whatever.
That kind of lends like a little bit of emotional gravity to his character in his situation later, but I do agree it's not necessary.
It really isn't. I feel like there was
there's a little bit of extra dialogue. I think it's in the scene where John and the T-101 are getting the guns.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little extra dialogue there, which I don't mind. I don't mind it there. It reinforces their relationship, I think. That one was okay, but yeah, for the most part, like the big differences were the primary ones that I laid at that really felt awkward. And the moment that Kyle Reese showed up, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the movie. I don't know what this is, or I had seen that scene before because I remember always being mystified by the trading card where Kyle Reese showed up. And I'm like, this isn't in the movie. I want to say that he was in some of the trailers too.
Yeah, it's possible.
And then they cut him out of the theatrical, release.
Like they were really trying to like I like the idea, like the way that she was dressed and everything. It made it feel like their scene in the first movie. It was like taking her back to the softer, harder, the more shakeable, but that doesn't really work for what you've built her up to be in the second one.
Yeah. So let's get into it then. Let's get into the movie. You have it starts basically, it introduces you to John almost right away, if I remember correctly. Is it the first
beginning is the war?
Oh,
yeah, sure. Showing Judgment Day. Yeah,
man, I always love that. I always love that in the original, and I always love it in the in this one too. And I wish that the freaking future war looked like that in Terminator Salvation.
Yeah. I like all this. Like the ground is just human skulls.
Yeah.
Like adding weight to the amount of because she says 3 billion people died, but just seeing it that way, and then the Terminator, I think it's a T-101 without skin, just steps and crushes the skull.
Yep.
It's like, this is just really cool stuff. And that's the stuff
and then
I
of
thought.
course, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that's the stuff I thought looked good in the 4K presentation that I watched, and we don't have to get into that, but there were a lot of the stuff in that movie I thought looked good. I know I don't have the most discerning eye when it comes to that stuff.
Whatever, dude.
I really don't. But I thought it looked good. Yeah. I know there's people out there. I'm just saying, I know there's people out there that don't like that presentation. So,
well, if any of them comment, I'm going to tell them to fuck off.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, that's the first scene, and then they do go.
Then the Terminators come. Yeah, just like the first movie.
Yes.
You have separate scenes of them dropping in naked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I say that I always really, really liked how, like, the little time bubble they come in, like, carves out things that I always liked that. I always thought it's like, wow, that's really cool. And boy, would it suck if they like landed like in the middle of a concert or something and just slicing people all fucking shit.
Yeah, there's it reminds me of, and this is a reference that might be lost on a lot of people, but the way that the male Aes Sedai, I forget what they're called in
Wheel
the
time.
World.
You're going to wheel time.
Yeah, the way that they enter scenes, like they open gates, that if anyone is standing in the gate, it just slices them in half. So I can imagine if a Terminator dropped in time into a concert, like everyone would just be obliterated by it. It'd be a pretty neat scene, actually.
Yeah,
that were to happen.
I'll put $5 towards whoever wants to make that scene.
Yeah. So yeah, we see the Terminator come. We see Arnold in all his nude glory. Again,
well, not all of his nude glory, but his, at least the
most of his nude glory.
His buttocks,
his bum.
But the way he goes into the biker bar, and I can't remember, is it a biker bar in the first one too, where he gets his clothes? I didn't rewatch it.
He gets them from Street Punks.
From Bill
Bill Paxton and Brian Thompson.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
but you get to see that kick-ass Arnold in the beginning, like that. This is the Terminator before, he runs into John.
That
first Terminator.
He's busting arms. He's throwing guys onto the burger grill. Basically, I also always liked how he sized up everybody's like dimensions and everything, and he finds the right guy, and he says, your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. And the guy's like, yeah, no.
I always like the look of the one lady in the bar who like eyes him up and down and like smiles.
Yeah.
That has I did think about this, honestly, and I thought, why would Terminators have penises?
To fool people.
Yeah, they're supposed to infiltrate in more ways than one.
Oh my. Anyway, okay, fair enough.
Well, it's interesting here too, because it's like obviously they're playing on Arnold's a bad guy, this normal looking dude you've never seen before is the good guy. Maybe he's human, right? Because I don't think it's right away where they show until he kills the cop. You see,
he just beats him up.
That's right, and he takes his clothes. Yeah, right, exactly. So they're kind of like, maybe you didn't see one of the thousands of trailers that played before this came out in theaters, and
being a little coy with it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And if you showed this to someone right after seeing the first Terminator, they'd probably think, "Oh shit, he's a bad guy again." Right.
Right.
Yeah. They play with that a little bit, and they play with that all the way up to the point where the two Terminators meet in the hallway with John between them, and that's when it's kind of determined. You figure it all out. It's like, okay, this one's bad and this one's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Robert Patrick is tossing kids aside left and right in that arcade.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, but he's not killing anyone. Do they show him kill anyone
No.
until he kills
Until he kills a guy in the wrong place in the hallway.
right.
Guy in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, that dude, what the hell is he thinking? He's like,
Yeah,
he's flat against the wall. And then yeah. I always think that too, Chuck. It's like, what is he doing?
I mean, there's a good chance he was already suicidal. And he's like, this is going to be the easiest thing ever. I have no regrets. I guess he would have lots of regrets. Anyway, no, yeah. So, no, because that's when, the next morning, John and his buddy take off for the arcade. We get that bitchin' Guns N' Roses song, "You Could Be Mine,"
which is cool because it's leading up to Arnold having Guns N' Roses. Like, it's a little on the nose.
That's good. That's a good call. I'm sure they used that in the video.
Probably, yeah.
And so, and it's like you find out a little bit that, like, he's being cared for by foster parents. I don't know if because it's Todd and Jeanette, right? I don't think they ever actually say if they are actually related.
They're the foster parents.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
just
a few different times that they're foster parents. Yep.
Okay. So, and he's not happy
because there's the great line. Where he's like, where Arnold Schwarzenegger imitates John Connor's voice on the phone.
Yeah.
He's like, "Mom, is Wolfie okay? I can hear him barking." She's like, "Wolfie's fine, dear." And he hangs up the phone. He's like, "Your foster parents are dead."
Yeah.
You guys are stealing all of my notes. The only notes I have.
Yeah, he's so matter of fact. Your foster parents are dead.
Yeah.
No, so and so, like, he takes off, and that's when Robert Patrick shows up at the foster parents dressed as a cop, and of course Xander Berkeley's like, "Oh man, he might be here for me." Because I'm always a dickwad in a movie. But no, actually what he says is, well, what's he done this time? And he's like, "Oh, I just want to ask him some questions." And I think one of them say something like, "Well, is that, a big guy came here looking for him too with a motorcycle. Could he have anything to do with this?" Robert Patrick's like, "Nah, I wouldn't worry about that guy."
That's special edition, I think. I don't think I saw that scene.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Unless I wasn't paying attention for a moment. That the first time I saw him with the foster parents is when he was playing the mother.
Huh. That's weird. If that's not in the theatrical, then I like that edition. That's always been there for me.
Yeah, it seems like I've always remembered that being there too, but
I'll recheck. I could be
we
wrong.
should mention that the foster mom is Jeanette Goldstein. She's a longtime collaborator with Cameron. She was in
she was Velasquez in Aliens.
Yes, in Aliens. She also was in Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, she was.
While this is all going on too, we should mention that Sarah Connor is going back and forth and pretending she's well to get out and of the place, and also then trying to kill the doctor who's in her care because he won't let her out, or who has her in his care, excuse me. But yeah, she's been sent to the psych hospital because she keeps talking about the end of days are coming, Judgment Day is coming, and the war is coming.
Yep.
Important to note that she's gone off. If you didn't know her, she's definitely gone off the deep end, right? Like, if you didn't know her story and know that what she's saying is actually true, she is certifiable, right?
I think she is. Even though everything is true, she's kind of certifiable.
Well, the reason why she's in that hospital is she tried to blow up a computer factory, thinking that she was going to try to avert Judgment Day.
Right.
So she already seems willing to go further than what I mean. Yeah. So it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, I would say absolutely she is not doing well as kind of going about things in weird, in not great ways to try
Well,
to prove
she's
herself
trying to take control, right?
of an
Because
uncontrollable situation.
right, she's trying to control fate. When because her Kyle Reese told her that there is no fate but what we make. We are I forget the whole speech, but we're the stewards of our own futures, right? And so yes and no. But yes, this movie does make that point. I think that this movie wants that to be the case, that they did stop Judgment Day, right?
Right.
Now, Hollywood had other things to say about that, but
Yeah, when you make $500 million, Hollywood decides that, oh no, we can keep pumping out Terminators.
yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's print
Hollywood put Skynet onto online.
that money. But what? But she's definitely she's suffering trauma. She is mentally unstable because and of course she would be. She was attacked by a robot from the future who tried to kill her, so that her unborn son, who ended up being the commander of her lover, who is her future son's progeny. It's like, what John say later? He's like, it really messes with your head. It really messes with your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and also, like, remember where her arc starts too, where she was just this 19-year-old, just working at a diner, getting ice cream put into her pockets. It's like she was just a normal kid, and pretty much in the course of just a few years became this hardened, really dark individual who is not at all the person that she ever was going to be.
She's a badass.
She is a badass.
Yeah.
And this was what I think makes the relationship between her and John so interesting, is because John, at a very early age, is showing the leadership skills that he is going to use to take back humanity in 40 years, 30 years, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who is trying to instill the sanctity of life and what that means in a robot. And his mother, meanwhile, is willing to kill anyone to stop this nightmare future from happening, right?
Right.
So it's and John even says that to her at one point. He's like, you keep saying I'm going to be this great leader, or maybe you should play it my way for a change, right?
Yeah.
That's a special edition scene,
yeah,
Chuck,
it is.
because that's when Sarah wants to destroy the chip that's in Arnold's
almost
endoskeleton.
everything Sarah,
makes sense.
almost every choice Sarah makes in this movie, and this is partly a joke, but and not really any kind of indication of what type of character she is, other than the role she has to play as this person who's very, very broken by what she experienced. But every choice that she makes almost makes everything a billion times worse.
Yeah, but
if she gets rid of the Terminator, now of course that's a special edition scene, but if she gets rid of the Terminator, they're fucked. They are utterly fucked. They are going to die very badly.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that would have been her choice that only she wants to make.
There's also, though, a practicality to her, because while she does make reckless decisions, she doesn't make them that in a way that would endanger John. It's always John coming after her to save her, because that's who he is. That's what makes him, so charismatic about, what he's going to bring to his leadership in the future, right? But she doesn't see that. She's like, he just needs to do the practical thing like I would. I'm going to go blow up Cyberdyne. John just needs to go off with the Terminator and be safe. John shouldn't have come to rescue me. If the Terminator killed me, he killed me. I'm not important, right?
Well, the T-1000 is likely not going to kill her. If anything, he may use her as a decoy.
Sure.
He's only killing what he absolutely needs to kill
Well,
what gets in his way.
The T-101 says that normally if he's going to impersonate someone, he kills them.
Right.
So if he's going to use Sarah Connor, like take the place of her, he likely would kill her. But,
which is the main motivation for John saying we got to go get her.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it's like if she was at the mental institution and John never went after her, the T-1000 would have never gone after her too.
Oh yeah, he may have just kind of laid in wait to see if he came, and if he didn't, he might have just moved on.
Right.
I could see that. Unless he thought he could impersonate her later for his own gain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But he would have had to have figured out how he gets out of that. Like he would have had to have figured out. Granted, he could have killed everybody in the mental hospital and just left. But would that have created a problem for him getting to John? Yeah.
But then I love that there's this unsolved crime that happened in 1984, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So 8 years ago? I think this takes place in 92, even though it came out in 91. Right?
No, actually it takes place in 95.
Oh, that's right. That always fucks me up.
So it's 11 years difference. Because
John has got to be older. Yeah, exactly.
John is supposed to be like 10 or 11 in this movie.
Yeah, which is pretty silly. Yeah. Right. That always messed me up. But anyway, shit, lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, there's this unsolved crime, right? So now Arnold Schwarzenegger's back. The T-101 is back, right? And that's a pretty distinctive looking dude. Oh, we got a Schwarzenegger walking around.
Right.
He's wearing sunglasses again and a leather jacket. He looks a lot like that guy, even though he's a little older. that killed all these people. That killed all these people in '84. So they go and question Sarah Connor about that too, which I like that. I like that. She's trying to tell them, this is what it is, but nobody wants to listen to me.
Right.
And then of course the whole showdown happens. We kind of skipped everything at the Galleria, but we also kind of talked about it. So right now what you have is you've got T-101 has John. They go to the hospital to save Sarah. The T-1000 goes there. We have another confrontation now between the two Terminators. I always love this scene where Arnold comes out of the elevator and Sarah's running and she sees him and she like slides to try and stop, and it's so good because she's like living this nightmare again all of a sudden, all over again.
The complete horror in her face is like palpable. Like, you feel it.
Yeah,
it's
good
wonderful
stuff.
Yeah,
it's really good stuff. But they're able to get away. There's a lot of chases in this. I mean, I guess it's a chase movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really is, because they are the hunted.
Yeah,
they're the prey, and I mean, it's like the Predator. But they, so like this is the scene where they have to like get through the hospital, because she's already planning on breaking out. That's kind of a coincidence.
Totally.
She was planning on breaking out because because at the mall, like they got the camera footage of the guy. Yeah. And like her doctor's like, so we know who this guy is. You got to tell us who this is, because your son could be in trouble. And
she knows her son's in trouble.
Right. And so she's like, well, I got to get out of here now.
Yep. Totally.
And so she's planning on getting out at the exact same time that John has convinced the Terminator to go against his original programming. Yeah. Which was to go after Sarah and to get her and then, protect her. So,
and John finds out that the Terminator has to obey him because he's the one who sent him and programmed him,
right?
And he's been told to obey him, and
he's also told him, it's like, you can't kill anybody, no killing. And he's like, why?
I always love that. It's like a toddler. Why?
Yeah, why? Which is probably, like Arnold Schwarzenegger just flipping through the page. Why? Yeah. So he then, so they go and they get her. And this is where like there are three good special effects shots here. One is just a pair of identical twins that were also in Gremlins 2.
Yes. Yes, that was in my notes too.
Yeah.
They were triplets in Gremlins 2, right?
No, they were
twins.
Yeah, they were just twins, and they would finish each other's sentences. And so because like he gains access by posing as the floor, and then so then you see him like rise up all goopy style, still like checkered like the floor, and then he impersonates the security guard. And then this is also the scene in which he's trying to go through the bars.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That was trailer stuff.
Yeah.
Did you cover Sarah Connor's escape?
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's all kind of happened simultaneously. Yeah,
I didn't know if you mentioned it yet. That's what.
Because she's doing that while John is coming to get her, and while the T-1000 is also infiltrating. It's all happening at the same time.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and so because she's broken a mop handle and busts the guy in the face.
Oh yeah, she busts creepy fat Cronenberg in the face.
The face licker.
Face licker. Yeah.
Fuck him. He deserved it.
Pudgy Cronenberg.
He does kind of look like Cronenberg, doesn't he?
It's like real life body horror Cronenberg.
Yeah.
He's got all fat and disgusting. He's all guts and butts. Anyway, so she's like busted that guy across the face. She takes his baton and is like heading down the hallway. That's when she comes around the corner, sees Arnold Schwarzenegger, and flips out.
There's a physicality to her when she takes a baton and then kind of like twirls it.
She flips it.
She flips it. Yeah, you can tell that she practiced with all the weapons in this movie.
Yeah,
like Linda Hamilton really sells all of it.
Well, and also the way that she's
comfortable with it all.
The way that she's running down the hallway, you can tell she's running on the ball of her feet.
Yep.
Which is to probably make it more silent.
Yep.
So it's like she is clearly using some sort of, I don't know, probably like military or some sort of training, which they do say that she did, run guns for a little while and was kind of with an outfit.
Yeah. She has paramilitary training for sure. Yep. Mm. That's how she spent her post Terminator years.
Her post-pregnancy years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there is there's not one moment in the scene where you don't think Linda Hamilton can do the things she's doing.
Right.
Which is, I mean, that's great. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So then so like when they get outside and they get into the car and they take off, of course that's the next chase, which is just Robert Patrick booking it down the street, and like that's when he like uses his little he tries to open the elevator
with his wedge claw or whatever.
Yeah, and then that's when he also grabs hold of the trunk and he's like sliding around and
they shoot him off. Did you ever wonder like what would happen if they just kept that part of him?
I bet there would have been
John just throws up. Would have been a little itty bitty Robert Patrick.
That's what I'd like to think.
Would he multiply the little itty bitty versions of himself?
Yeah,
like a Russian doll. He like different, different sizes.
Yeah, it's like those. It's like the little Stay Puft guys in the Ghostbusters. Yeah, one of them ends up making s'mores with himself.
God, I've always wondered that. I was like, why does he like throw it back? He should just keep it and then have his own little Robert Patrick for himself.
Yeah. Put him in the little jar, like the little jar, and keep him. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. It'd be like the little mini Bruce Campbells in Army of Darkness, right?
or like the little people in Bride of Frankenstein that Pretorius had in the little jar. Yeah, yeah. Just keep yourself a little Robert Patrick. I've got a little Robert Patrick. He's right over there. That was just for you, Chuck.
Chuck got up. He got up and he left for a minute. I mean, we started on the little Robert Patrick tangent, and then he got back and I had no idea what he walked into.
I was gonna say you leave for 1 minute and you guys just devolve into madness.
Oh man,
I love it.
So I'll just recap it for you, Chuck. I always posited what would happen, or asked a question. I should.
If he kept the little broken,
if they kept the little broken thingy instead of threw it back to the T1000, yeah. So our conclusion was that we'd get a little mini Robert Patrick.
I immediately
That's constantly trying to murder you.
But it would be adorable, though.
It'd be like Baby Groot.
Yeah. But he's just a little 3-inch murderer. But that's why you got to put them in the jar, so you got to keep them in a jar. You don't even have to put holes at the top of the jar like you would like when you catch butterflies.
Yeah, he doesn't need to breathe, right?
No, but I don't think so. No. So all right, so at this point now, Linda Hamilton, Sarah has to figure out, it's like, does she want this Terminator? It's like he is the constant reminder of her trauma, basically.
I mean, he's a walking trigger, right? I mean, holy fuck, it's pretty scary. And is he gonna just flip at any time?
It's like how good was the reprogramming job?
Exactly.
But it's clear that John is buddies with him, and that and she even says at one point that while it's difficult for her to be around him, it's so clear that this is the father figure that John never had, that he would always be there. He's never going to hit him. He's never going to, screw up or anything like that. It's like it was the I can't remember exactly how she punctuates that. Like basically it's just to her, it's the most logical decision was to keep him around.
I know that her voiceovers are kind of like a staple of the series, but I really dislike that one.
Really?
I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, one, I think it's funny, just before that they go on a family trip in a station wagon. I just want to say that. Like, they'll get in a station wagon and drive to the uncle, what is Enrique? They go to Enrique's house. John Connor calls T101 Uncle Bob. He's like, Uncle Bob. And he picks the baby up, all cute and funny. Just that scene, like, where she is staring at them and he's teaching him to high five and low five and all that. You get that sense anyways, right? That he's kind of like a father figure.
But the way I kind of look at it,
I think it's important for you to understand that she's understanding it, though.
Yeah, maybe if she's, I don't know. I just,
and I think
it kind of took me out of that
and it's
moment.
the reason why she feels comfortable enough to leave.
I get that. I get that. Maybe I just don't like the way it's executed or something.
My favorite moment in all Terminator is in that scene where they're doing he does the too slow.
And
then Arnold Schwarzenegger gives them that kind of, like, I don't even know how you describe it. It's like
it's just a blank stare, like, oh my god,
it's like, I'm gonna murder you. It's like a why I oughta.
It's a frown, and it's awesome.
It's like he like the machine feels personally hurt that he's not good enough for a low five. It's
there's stuff here that, like, I think that, again, why I think that the special edition scene where they turn on his, like, learning enabler mode, they move him from read only to be able to learn, is so important to a lot of the jokes that happen afterwards. Like,
they do explain it well enough for me. I mean, he tells John Connor that he can learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
He tells him that in the car.
That's right. They shot a different scene for that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
So it's handled. So you do get that he's learning, and that's all cute. I really kind of love.
Are we learning yet with the keys? I love it.
And then they show him grabbing the keys later from the from the thing, and the almost a wry smile, but he's still a robot, so he doesn't smile.
Yep.
But
My other favorite moment of Arnold's is when he holds up the chain gun when they're getting the weapons, and he gives the grin,
Yeah.
and John is just like, yeah, that suits you.
that suits you. Yeah, that whole scene at Enrique's little compound there is pretty good.
There's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because it's Sarah feels comfortable there, which adds another layer of, oh, she is not inhuman anymore either, because her cold, calculating, like everything is a military exercise attitude is difficult for you to really like until you get to that point.
But she gets yanked right back into it, though, with the dream.
She has her dream.
She has her dream.
I have a question about that dream. Maybe one of you can answer. Maybe it's discussed in the special edition. She is dreaming of herself at a little park with the 2-year-old boy when the city gets destroyed, right? Or a young boy. Is that what she thought the future would be? Because John is way too young. Like, what even is that dream when she's telling herself to run? That doesn't happen yet for another 7-8 years, and he's far too young in that scene. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I think what it is okay. I'm going to play Dream Doctor here for a second.
And also that would be 2 years from the movie.
This movie.
Right, from this movie.
So her son would have been 13, not 3.
Right. But yes, I think I know where Jeff's going to go with this, and go for it.
Okay. So I think she is seeing the destruction of what her dreams were and what she expected her life to be. And it snaps her back to the place of, I have to do something about this because I lost what I thought I was going to have.
I have to straighten my hair.
Or I have to straighten my hair. I have to learn how to cock a giant shotgun with one arm. I gotta be a badass because it was that was stolen from her.
Right.
That's good enough for me.
I agree. And if you notice, she's wearing her waitress outfit from the first movie.
Yeah.
So I think that to me also kind of reinforces that point. This is
what
her life might have been. Yep.
And it's also kind of a little bit of loss of innocence, that sort of thing.
Hundo, man, it's harrowing. That effect, all of it looks phenomenal. Even the model stuff looks a little dated, but the flesh and everything burning and blowing off of her skeleton. Oh my God. Like I remember seeing that in the theater and it scared the shit out of me.
You know how to not have that happen to you? Get inside a refrigerator.
It's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a that's a callback.
That's a good point.
Or the other way would be to decide to go kill Miles Dyson, who made those killer vacuum cleaners.
Yep.
Sucks the skin right off your bones.
Oh God, I just had a Spaceballs flashback.
It's gone from
plaid.
No, it's gone from suck to blow.
Suck to blow.
Oh, so good.
So she's like, you know what? I'm going to go kill the guy who did the thing. And just assuming that was probably going to be enough.
Yeah.
Not realizing.
She doesn't really think all that through. Yeah.
No, because there's a whole team we've seen that works on this.
Uh-huh.
They have the arm, they have the chip. They have a
giant version of the chip.
They've been working on a giant version of the chip. They've been working on this for 11 years. They have 11 years of development. Yep.
Yeah. And there is something I like about that whole idea too, because it's a little spooky, right? Because the one guy asks, it's like, well, I was hoping you might know. It's like, where did the artifact come from?
Mm-hmm.
And like Dyson.
He's like, I asked him the same thing.
Yeah. And the thing is that would not be a great that would be scary to think about.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, because it would warp your entire perception of
Well, what is
reality.
it? Is it alien technology? Is it, yeah, right. I mean, absolutely. And that's why I don't think, even though they have to show him the arm,
Hmm.
Arnold shows him his arm, it's not a big leap for him at that
No,
point.
no. I
He's
mean,
like,
at
holy
that point,
shit.
when
Yep.
they cut off the arm, when he cuts off the skin, and he shows the hand, and he's like, oh, and then they're calmly sitting at a table, and
That's
they've
just a
said
great practical effect.
everything.
So
Yeah,
cool.
and they tell him everything, and he just accepts. And it's like, yeah, we got to go blow it up.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right. The leap is there, but at the same time, it's like you're dealing with something that is it's alien regardless of what it is, right? It
He's been
doesn't
so
belong.
consumed by the science, he hasn't given him time to really think about it. But then it
Right.
all comes crashing home. Yep.
Yeah. And
Yep.
it's like regardless of what of where it came from, it doesn't belong. And it's got to be gotten rid of. So anyway, yeah, so she fails at trying to kill Dyson, just as she's going to go in and blow him away after missing with the sniper machine gun.
Hmm.
John and the Terminator show up, and that's when it's like you got to show them what you are, because they're like, "Who are you people?" And I think it's John that says, "Show him," and he
Yeah.
hands him the knife.
Hands him a
and
knife.
He cuts his skin off of his arm.
And he
to
also
reveal
shows
the
that
exact same thing.
shows humanity by bringing the child away, not letting the child see it. He's like, come to your room and show me your
John.
toys and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very
Again.
showing his leadership and understanding of humans.
Yep.
And all that stuff. It's a cool
Well,
scene.
what he doesn't want to have happen is for anybody else to become him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's so yeah, so they show, and then smash cut to them just calmly sitting at the kitchen table, saying, "We told him the history of things to come," and he's like, "Yeah, okay, let's go blow this shit up."
You wonder if it would have been better for that kid to have seen it, because his dad dies.
Oh yeah,
He
by
never
the
sees
way,
him again.
yeah, by the way, it doesn't end too well for Miles Dyson.
And he could be told all these things, but he never saw it, right?
Right.
So it's gonna again be he did kind of create another John.
Well, right. And presumably, given that there were no other Terminators, let's assume that this is the end.
Mhm.
None of that shit ever happens, right?
Right.
Theoretically.
Right.
So his dad was just taken away and dies for literally no reason, because there's no proof ever.
Right. And he's
for
going to
it.
be painted as a villain by
Yeah, he went and blew up
society.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is Linda Hamilton. He's John's mom in that scenario. Yep.
Yep. Totally.
Huh. I never really thought about that before.
Huh.
Poor
Muy
kid.
interesante.
Yeah.
So from here, the whole rest of this movie is one giant action.
One giant
right?
Yes, it is.
action sequence. Yeah, because action. I did say that fucked up, didn't I? Anyway, so action sequence. So they go to Cyberdyne to destroy everything. And so they first have to handcuff a security guard who's probably working for minimum wage, and on the bathroom floor. So now he's probably got some sort of terrible fucking staph infection that he can't afford the. At least he didn't get shot in the knees, I guess. So anyway, so they make their way up and they're going to blow everything up, but there's a second guard who figures everything out, and he calls the cops to say, bring everybody, to which this is my favorite line. All the cops show up as they're like, planning explosives and everything. And John notices it. So he goes over and tells Sarah, it's like, so we've got company. The cops are here. And she's like, how many? He's like, I don't know, all of them. And so the Terminator is like, I'll take care of them. To which John's like, no, you can't kill anybody.
You promised me. And he's,
trust me, I'll be back.
Yeah.
So this like, oh shit, he's got a minigun. Now, by the way, I asked this. You guys did not give me an answer. Why is a gigantic gun like that called a minigun?
It's called a minigun?
Minigun.
I'd always called it like a chain gun.
Well, that's what I thought it was too. But no, one of the cops says, "Oh shit, he's got a minigun."
Oh, he
like
does.
that ain't
because
a minigun. It's a giant
like a
fucking gun.
It's a gunner gun, so it's a smaller version of like a turret gun. I think
okay,
is
fair enough.
So
Fair
it's
enough.
mini and relative. It's relative to
right
to being on the front of a fucking helicopter
or on a helicopter or a
Yes.
tank. Yeah.
I thought I
Alright.
answered you on that, Jeff. That is my understanding, or at least my
Fair enough. I'll take it. I could look it up, but I was too lazy.
Yeah, it's better when we
I'm
talk
watching
these things out
Terminator
anyways.
2. God damn it! I don't have time to look this up. So he starts blowing away all the coppers.
No, the copper's cars. He doesn't.
Okay,
kill
well,
any
they're
coppers.
right, but he does hurt a few. Like eventually, he does hurt some.
Yeah, he has to.
No,
He
has
hurts
to,
a
yeah.
bunch later. Yeah.
Yeah, when they get downstairs. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
This is where the knee replacement talk comes from.
yeah, because at one point you just see
Dyson's
the parking lot
vacuum
of all.
with knee replacement.
Yeah. At one point you see the parking lot and it's just a bunch of cops like writhing on the ground, going, "Ah, my knees."
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's the shot in the movie.
But yeah, we have Dyson and Connor rigging the lab where all of the rest of the information regarding his work is at.
And the two items.
Yes, and we have John Connor, who's using the little ATM buster he used in the beginning of the movie to open a lock on a little safe that has a key in it, so they can get the chip in the
To which he's like,
arm.
okay, to get it out of the, and he just smashes it.
Which
It's
is
like, well, who
hilarious.
cares? Who fucking cares how you get it?
I'll just break him.
Yeah, it's like we're not here to do anything carefully. We're here to blow shit up.
It's just funny that they're in glass though. That's breakable. Like you wouldn't expect that anyway.
Well, but okay. Now, as a guy who has seen all of the Resident Evil movies, very dangerous virus was also just in a little glass tube that was so easy just to toss it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's stupid. At least the virus that was used in No Time to Die like had to have a delivery system. You know, it's like you can't just bust it open. Yeah.
Right.
You know, because at least like come on now. Anyway, so yeah, they grab the stuff and they he wants to bust up his giant version of the chip, of the head chip. And so he does with an axe, although I think that's special edition stuff.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
In fact, I'm not sure the giant version of that chip is in the original version.
It's not.
Okay. So all of
It's
that
just
was
a mini broken chip that doesn't work. But
Yeah.
gave them some idea of how the technology works in the arm.
Yes.
So yeah, they get all that stuff and they're about to leave. And while that's going on, not Ray Liotta hears over his biker helmet while he's investigating Dyson's house that there's a disturbance with Sarah Connor and the dude from the mall at what is that?
Cyberdyne.
Cyberdyne. I was going to say Pepperdine. That's way wrong. That's
At Pepperdine University. Oh,
yeah,
no.
he hears that it's there, so he heads over there on his motorcycle.
He rides the motorcycle into the building at one point later.
When he goes up the stairs, it's so awesome on the motorcycle, and then he takes that motorcycle out the window of the whatever floor and grabs onto the helicopter,
Right.
and breaks
That's
the window
after-
and seeps in, like you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so basically, as they are about to, they basically planted the last bomb. Dyson goes back for the picture of his family, I think it is. And,
Oh, yeah.
And he gets shot in the back by cops because, of course, Of course.
They just come in shooting.
Yeah.
They don't care who's in there.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. We'll say it that way. And then, so he's dying, but he's got the blowy uppy thing. And
that's what I call it too.
Yeah, it's the blowy uppy thing. Is that's the technical term for that. And he's like, so while Sarah and John and the Terminator are like, shooting their way out, Dyson's basically like precariously holding the like something heavy over the blowy uppy trigger. And he's like, I don't know how long I can hold this, to which the cops are like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
That's a pretty good death scene. The way he's breathing, it's kind of believable.
Yeah. And he finally breathes his last breath, and he drops it, and the whole place goes up.
Yep.
And it's at that point that I think John and Arnold and Sarah get into the old man's chicken truck.
Yeah, well, there's a helicopter chase first.
Yeah, they're on the SWAT vehicle being chased by the helicopter.
Man, that's some scary stuff. Like the helicopter stunts in this.
Yeah.
When they nearly avoid the bridge. I don't know if that's perspective or not.
It makes me gasp every time I see it. Yeah. There was a stuntman who once said that he hates helicopter stunts because it's not a matter of if there's going to be an accident. It's only a matter of when.
Right.
Helicopter rotors are very dangerous. They're super, super dangerous because they don't just stop spinning when they fall off. No,
they'll tumble and roll.
And just stay spinning with the force of death. Yeah.
One thing I want to say about like HD re-releases or 4K re-releases of stuff, the stuntmen are so noticeable nowadays. It's kind of hilarious. It's just
my favorite one in Terminator 2 is the guy riding the motorcycle, Arnold Schwarzenegger's stuntman, when he jumps off the bridge into the LA ravine.
Yeah.
Like it looks pretty good, but
well, the one that plays Furlong or John Connors when he's on the moped doing crazy turns and stuff. Oh my God, it's so bad. But I mean, you have to expect this. But you got to give it a pass. But it looks so bad.
This isn't a stuntman thing; it's a special effect, I think. But when Arnold tumbles off of the exploding, thing, that kills me because it's so robotic. And it's like,
which is okay, right?
Well, it feels like
yeah, it's like
I get you, but he is a robot.
Fair enough. Yeah, but that is second only to Falling Bad Dummies in my book. Jason knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I see one in every Giallo film I watch.
Where their arms like float up.
I know. Why don't they ever think to weight the arms down?
I don't know. Anyway, so. So basically this they are being chased by a liquid nitrogen truck eventually, and they're in a little itty bitty old man chicken coop truck, and so like they have to, like, they're shooting at it, which is also causing things to like spray out everywhere. They end up creating it as they're going into, I guess, a lava factory.
It's a steel factory. It's
okay. It's hot steel.
A lava factory.
I would like to make an 80s style buddy cop movie with each other called Hot Steel.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I like the LA Lava Company.
LA Lava. I can already see the logo. The LA and lava would be like capital.
Yes. Yeah. They were just making the lava for Joe versus the volcano. And like, can we borrow your set for a minute?
Can we
Those
borrow
years
some of
probably
that
don't
lava?
match up at all. But
it's all for prop masters. They make real lava for them.
uh, so they go to Hot Steel, and they go to the film premiere of Hot Steel, and the truck that Robert Patrick's in is the liquid nitrogen. It tumbles over, and he comes out, and he gets frozen in it. To which then Arnie gets to say the line that he learned from Eddie Furlong. So if you're gonna blow somebody away, you say "Hasta la vista, baby," and he blows them up into a whole bunch of itty bitty little Robert Patricks.
It does. They should have just separated all of them.
Yeah, it's like just start throwing.
They run around them.
There's something funny about that line because I was 13 when I saw this movie, and sure, that's a cool thing for Arnold to say, and it's a cool callback in the movie, but I had never heard anyone say that to anyone for any reason. No, before that. Was that a thing? Was that like a cool thing to say before Terminator?
I mean, it was a thing.
It was after. I mean, it was after.
Well, sure, but it was
everybody was fucking saying it.
I mean, it's like Bart Simpson saying "I caramba." It's like it was just a thing that was just kind of out there.
I don't remember it. I don't remember ever hearing it.
You're probably not California enough.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Chuck and I were.
I guess Indiana was for Jeff.
I was the furthest west in 1991.
You were, yeah.
Let's just say that is a saying. It's a thing. Maybe not adding the baby, but Terminator.
Did you hear it? Did you hear people say that? Like in school?
I honestly don't know if it was a result.
It was not a new thing to me, is what I'm saying. When I'm 14 years old. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was cool after that for sure.
It was made huge by Terminator. Like everyone was saying it.
This is funny. The one thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger told James Cameron after James Cameron talked him into the fact that he's not going to kill anybody in the movie, and Arnold's like, I don't know, still seems weird. Only thing I asked, just make me look cool. And he did. He made him look pretty fucking cool.
It was pretty cool, yeah. I mean, James Cameron was very good at making Arnold Schwarzenegger look cool.
All right, so not Ray Liotta is in a million pieces. He reforms
in a million, not Ray Liotta.
Oh no! All the cocaine is going to be gone.
Yep. Yeah,
Each one of the little Ray Liotta's does his own body weight in cocaine.
The unfortunate thing
Come
for
with
Jeff,
me if you want some blow.
Karen.
I'm just going to let you guys finish this one.
No, go ahead. Sorry, we're done.
No, I'm joking around. But yeah, unfortunately.
But then, Jason, they would all like, pile up on top of each other and wear a coat to sneak
Trench
into
coat.
movies.
Trench coat.
Oh my man.
God.
All right,
oh my God.
ahead, I'm done.
Unfortunately for Jeff and Jason, they all form back into one large knot.
Yes.
And they chase Sarah, and he's trying to chase Sarah and John through, but Terminator's like, nope, we're going to fight right here. To which basically he kicks his ass. Like,
he gets stuck. He gets his arm trapped underneath the giant gear. And I always thought, well, man, that's some hubris. T-1000 could just finish the job, but he's just like, got other things, got bigger fish to fry.
Well, he grabs the rebar though, and
it's really annoying here.
No, that's later. That's later because Arnold gets loose, and then they fight again, and then yes, he does do the rebar, and he does kill him in air quotes. Yeah, that's true.
Slight annoyance here is the arrogance, hubris, whatever you want to call him, the slowness in which he moves through the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
Like when he could have just killed everyone.
Well, he's still,
are you programmed to be a dipshit and not? He could have killed everyone in like 3 seconds, and instead he's like, I'm just going to walk around.
He's still a little frozen inside.
Oh, okay. If you
that is true. That is true. Like I like how they show he's kind of fucked up. Like you don't really get a good sense of his mechanics, right? But he's starting to form to things that he doesn't want to form to.
Well, he turns into the fucking thing later.
Yeah. So he
does.
He definitely is having some problems after
I wish
he was frozen and then exploded and then melted back together.
that could be a little more pronounced that it's actually fucking with him somehow. But now that you say that, like, I didn't even think that. I just thought he was being an idiot.
Well, when he grabs the rail, I think, and he looks and he's like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, yeah, because he's merging into the rail, and he's like, huh? Yeah, that's the first sign. Although it would have helped to have had a little bit of Terminator vision on his side. Like,
I agree. I think that would have helped a lot. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, this movie sucks now.
Yeah.
Taking notes, James Cameron.
He really needs some help. That man could be a billionaire if he took some notes.
What did he ever do after this?
Yeah.
I heard his career sunk.
Oh, I hear he is absolutely not the king of the world.
No, he's not. He's just an avatar of himself.
Oh.
Can I get worse? I don't know if I can get worse.
I mean, he did True Lies, right? You could probably tell some true lies about him.
Yeah. Daddy John Cameron will catch you.
You did worse.
I did worse. Jeff. There you go. Yep. There it is. Did it.
All right. So yeah, John and Linda are trying to escape by going upstairs to a platform that leads absolutely nowhere. I don't know why they do that.
Well, do you know the inner workings of the lava factory? I
don't know. I wouldn't walk upstairs though. I wouldn't walk upstairs.
Okay, I don't think they know where to go, but yeah. And she can't exactly move very well either because she's bleeding out.
Yeah, her leg is fucked up. I'm surprised she didn't die, honestly. But the T-1000 catches up to them after beating the shit out of Arnold's face and basically depowering him.
Yeah.
Because he does come back and put the rebar through him, which fucks him up. But then he just pulls it right back out, and then he just starts beating him. He has to go
into like auxiliary mode or something.
He has to locate his power or whatever. He has to use an alternate power source.
It's when he gets to the alternate power source that he gets the final shot. He's got the grenade, the last grenade from the grenade gun that was in the back of the Hillbilly Farms truck bed. And Sarah has been like shooting the T-1000 and almost got him to the edge of the lava pit. And she's out of ammunition. And that's when Arnold comes up over the moving gear with the grenade launcher and gets him with the final
shot. And then he
shot.
turns into the Thing.
Yeah, and that makes sense too, because I was wondering why he couldn't reform, but since his machinery is all fucked up, he's having problems here.
Yeah.
And he just falls into the lava. Forever to be melted into it.
Well, I mean, I hope they never turn that thing into something, right? Like, it has to stay forever melted.
I thought about that, but I think he was sufficiently dead because Arnold can tell. By looking into it, he says terminated. So he could tell there's no, at least I think he could tell there's no chance of it.
Well, unless his auxiliary power is his one-liner power.
Yeah.
And he's like, terminated.
Or maybe when he goes into the pit himself,
they forever battle.
Yeah, they forever battle in the liquid lava.
It's like Jason versus Freddy.
I was thinking of the scene in Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella, Avatar fighting.
I like that too.
Yeah. Anyway,
but Sarah Connor
go ahead.
Says it's over. It's done. You can go, Jason, if you want. All I was going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, Arnold says it's not. There's one more chip. He points to his head. He's like, you have to destroy this, but you have to do it because I cannot self-terminate. And John goes ballistic. Can't have it.
And Sarah's like, I got this.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. And he
does have some scruples here, but yeah.
It's the good music with the sweep, with the swells and the
thumbs up,
emotions and the thumbs up at the last minute.
How was that received? The thumbs up.
It.
You love it?
I like it.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little story.
It's a bit hokey. Tell me a story.
Susan, I showed her this movie not long after we started dating, a few years, maybe a couple years into dating, and she cried. It moved her to tears, Chuck.
The thumbs up?
Yep. And that's the moment I knew that I was with the right person.
That's the moment that
That's
you
awesome.
knew that in about 6 years or so, I'm going to marry this woman.
Yeah, yes. I will most
Six.
definitely in about 6 years marry you.
Or
It was
10.
more, or 12.
Or 12. Yeah.
That's awesome, though. That's really cool, though. That is like a nice moment, I think, honestly.
There's one scene we haven't talked about that it's like fucking major.
Which one?
The in the spillway, the chase, Robert Patrick
Oh, yeah.
in the semi.
The first big chase, yeah.
Mhm. That
Yeah.
shit was so fucking cool the first
Yeah.
time I saw it. To this day, 30 years later, I'm like, that's a fucking cool scene.
Mhm.
Just how everybody converges into the, like, you have Robert Patrick. Yeah, first you have Eddie Furlong getting away on his little moped, and then you see the big truck come up over the bridge and
Yeah.
smash down into it while he's like just looking on in terror.
Mhm.
And then meanwhile you have Arnold Schwarzenegger coming up, and then having to join in on all of that, lifting him up onto his bike, and it's like, and then it ends with an exploded truck and a fiery tire, and I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
like-
cool.
I like when the tire rolls out and he pulls the gun.
Yeah.
It's like, could that be him?
Yeah.
That kind of gives you your first sense that this T-1000 it can be anything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then
It makes him very, very menacing throughout the movie.
and then he comes out in his liquid form and then
Mhm.
forms and like walks through it as
That's the first big money shot of
Yeah.
the movie. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
yeah, and it's like, man, that's awesome.
It always bugs me though that when the semi bumps John's little motorbike, that
Oh, he's dead. He's mega
Yeah.
dead.
yeah, he's
yeah.
dead. He's dead right there.
Yeah, I mean, he would. Yeah, he's Dave Mustaine because he is mega dead. That would be mega death on him.
God.
Oh,
Oh, God.
Anyway, I will say that this movie also holds a very special place in my heart. Jason, we've talked about this before, but there's that mystical hour-long MTV news
Oh,
special
yeah.
that I cannot find anywhere ever again that was like previewing all of the summer of 1991 movies.
Mhm.
And this was the centerpiece one. It's like everybody knew this was, fuck Backdraft. I love Backdraft.
I do too.
We should have covered that this year too. But fuck that. Fuck Hot Shots. Fuck Only the Lonely.
And
This
Naked
is the
Gun
movie.
2.5.
Naked Gun 2.5 Naked Gun 2.5 got a little bit of love on there. But fuck Soap Dish. This was the movie of the summer. Drop Dead Fred, maybe, but
What
not.
the fuck
But
was Soap Dish?
that was Robert Downey Jr., Elizabeth Shue, Kevin Kline, Sally Field. They all
It
worked on
sounds
a
like a
soap
movie
opera.
I've never seen that I need to see.
I have not
Oh,
seen that.
it's pretty funny. Robert Downey Jr. is like Whoopi Goldberg's a writer for a soap opera, and I think Robert Downey Jr. is like the director or the producer or something. And
Huh.
Kevin Kline and Sally Field are like the top stars of the soap opera, and they kind of like love-hate each other, not realizing that this new starlet that's being added to the show is actually their daughter, which is Elizabeth Shue. And she's
Interesting.
taking over the show because she's like, they write her to be this really sympathetic, like deaf and blind girl. And like everybody loves her, which makes Sally Field and Kevin Kline like upset. It's a pretty funny little movie. Anyway, good cast. Anyway, so yeah, but that movie almost as big as Terminator 2. But like I remember, and like that's when you saw like the scene with like the truck coming down into that ravine, and it's like, oh my God, this movie's gonna like blow my balls off. And it did.
And it did.
Yep. You've been
totally
a eunuch.
did.
You've been
No,
a eunuch ever since.
I've got T-1000 balls, so they grew back eventually, but they
got no
always
Ghiblis.
try to merge with my.
They
the side of
they
my
didn't
leg.
turn into a little Ray Liotta.
I've got a little Ray Liotta down there.
I was going to call My Little Ray Liotta a 3-inch murderer earlier, but I didn't want to.
Hey, Jeff, you gonna watch me? Well, yeah,
All right.
yes, always, every
Oh,
morning,
man.
Ray Liotta. Anyway, so no, God, yeah, it's Robert Patrick. Everybody, if you haven't seen this movie, Ray Liotta's not in this movie. We keep calling him that.
I call him not Ray Liotta every time.
That's fair. That's fair. Jason and I have gone off the rails. But no, this movie, I mean, like, it was one that it's like, we saw, I don't remember, I must have went with like one of my buddies or so. This was back in the days where it's like Note from Mom gets you into an R-rated movie.
Right.
You know, but like, I may have seen it with my mom, but it was one of those movies you watched it and it's like, this is something special.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those few. I mean, there are lots of summer blockbusters that are good or great,
but they're at least fun.
This is one of the ones that like lived up to a 14-year-old's expectations.
Oh,
everything I thought it was going to be, it was more.
It surpassed all the hype that this movie.
Yeah,
was.
I mean, you could argue it surpassed the original. I mean, you can very easily make the argument it's better than the original. I think it is, and that's a pretty rare thing too.
Well, we have talked about a few sequels that are better than their original, and this one absolutely. Mm-hmm. This one's absolutely better than the original. It's right up there with, Empire Strikes Back, Star Trek 2. Mm-hmm. This is right up there with those.
Yep.
There was one review that I wanted to one thing, Richard Roper in 2017 said, even though this movie was made nearly 30 years ago, almost nothing about it feels dated. That's true.
Yeah.
There was another really good I read a response or a review on it that basically said that basically one of the great things about it was that it's a movie that every scene pays off in the following scene. Like there's nothing set up that doesn't pay off, like almost immediately. And that it's a collection of everything being set up and paid off, and that's absolutely, that's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Leonard Maltin didn't really like it because of he doesn't. I don't get that.
Who cares about Leonard Maltin?
I don't know. He gave this movie 2.5 stars, the exact same rating he gave Laser Blast. So
what?
I only know that because that's a joke in the Laser Blast episode of Mystery Science Theater. They read off all the movies all the great movies that either didn't have the same 2.5 stars or had the same 2.5 stars. And that was a big joke about how Laser Blast was as good as The Remains of the Day or something. Yeah. Anyway. No, this is one of the, this and Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark. These are all the summer movies that paid off, that were, you went in expecting big things and you got it.
Yep.
Stuff.
Yeah. And, James Cameron, people can have a lot of faults with him. I know, Jason, you disagree with this, but I still think that cinematically Titanic absolutely works. Was it the best film of that year? No. But cinematically, it lives up to its budget.
I don't disagree with that. It's just not a movie that I enjoy.
That's fair. That's fair. Avatar was neat to watch, but I never watched it again. It was cinematically fine, but it's not Terminator 2.
Avatar was technically interesting.
Yes.
That's all.
It
I
also
really
technically sucked.
The acting in that is so over the top bad.
I don't like that movie at all.
No.
I remember
but it was fun to see in IMAX 3D and be like, ooh, pretty.
I'm in Pandora.
I remember going to see the IMAX, and I think it was me, you being Jason, Shannon, and I can't remember if you were there.
Shannon went with me.
Not to see the movie. The 20-minute teaser.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was amped for the movie. And then I saw the movie.
Shannon and I went, and we laughed so hard in the scene in which the big tough bad guy goes outside and starts shooting at the escaping good guys.
No.
And he's not wearing his mask. And somebody comes out and he just nods at them like all tough, like, and then puts on his mask. Shannon and I were nearly on the floor. We were laughing so hard at that. It was just something about that was so over the top bad that it's like, this is unbelievable that this is that everybody loves this movie so much. But sometimes big time movies like the one we talked about last week, Top Gun, I
remember
have those moments in which you just have to laugh at them.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I've got nothing else on T2.
T2 is pretty great. That's all I can say.
Yep. Jason, final thoughts on Terminator 2.
Yeah, this is your movie, man.
I mean, it will always be good to me. I will always love this movie. I will watch this movie when it's on, and no matter where it is, I'll finish it. It's one of those for me. Love it. I love it. It truly, to me, like you said, does not feel its age at all. Some rough special effects here and there maybe, but honestly, like it still looks fantastic.
Yeah, and I guess the one thing I could say is I still felt like the 14-year-old that I was watching it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it always gets me amped. Yeah, 100%. It's like you know what it is. I think the reason I keep wanting more Terminator movies is because I want to recapture
that again. Yeah.
I want to recapture it. Yeah, and it'll never happen, but I'm always chasing it. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I keep going back to Star Wars and Star Trek movies, is to recapture, particularly with Star Wars. But yeah, that's real hit and miss these days. So
yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, can you believe it? This is the 199th episode we're wrapping up.
Oh my
goodness. Holy moly.
Holy guacamole. Yeah, so next week is episode 200. At the time of recording this, we don't have the exact agenda down, but it's not going to be like the normal episodes. We're not going to actually really talk about one movie. We may talk about multiple movies as we talk about like kind of why we do this show, basically. That's going to be the overarching theme, at least. So let's just leave it at that.
Yep.
So, yeah, 200 episodes. And Chuck, this is, I mean, you've done almost 100 yourself.
I think I'm about, like 120 almost. Maybe less. You might be right.
Yeah, I mean, almost 100 total with your guests. So, yeah, probably right at about 100, a little over 100. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So, wow. I mean, put that in your T1000 and smoke it.
Yep.
That is next week. Chuck, would you agree that they can find all of these things at filmseizure.com?
I would agree with that. You can also find our podcast in lots of places like Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. Now I think you can watch.
Yeah, if you follow us on Facebook at Film Seizure, we have our podcast. We'll just come up, or a place you can go inside of YouTube and just listen to it as they are released.
So check them out. Email us, comment on those posts. Let us know what you think. We still might someday take some suggestions, so make some suggestions for movies.
Well, we've taken some.
I meant more. We might take some more.
We might take some.
I meant.
Sure. No, I can dig it. Yeah. So every Wednesday you can catch those new episodes of Film Seizure. On Mondays, I do a little thing called Monster Mondays, And be sure that you subscribe to us on the Facebooks, because as of January 3rd, the very first Monday in 2022, Monster Mondays is getting a reboot, and it's going to be YouTube only. So do those things. But this Monday, I round out my month of films that I've covered before that have been remade. So this is so I had done movies in the past, and this month I had done all remakes of those movies. The final one for November is Village of the Damned, John Carpenter's Village of the Damned. So you can do that. Meanwhile, I also have my solo project, which is B-Movie Enema, this Friday. It's Zat is the article, also known as The Bloodwaters of Dr. Z. That's a fish monster movie. A guy turns himself into a fish monster. This weekend on B-Movie Enema, the series, on Saturday night, is a little bit of our Thanksgiving special, Thanksgiving weekend special, Blood Freak, where a guy turns himself into a guy with a turkey head and goes after the blood of people who smoke pot. This is a real movie. Awesome. It's not. It's a fucking terrible movie.
I was trying to help you out.
No, it's a terrible movie, but you should watch, because I do have an hallucination that my nurse turns into a turkey-headed person. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Doing great over here, guys. Doing great. Mm-hmm. So with that, I think we have done it. Next week, episode number 200. It's a long time getting here, guys.
Crazy stuff.
Check out filmseizure.com. Follow us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Film Seizure. Find out when all the good stuff happens. Until then, I am the Cyberdyne Unit 101 T800. I am Terminator. I'm Jeff Harbuckle.
I'm Chuck Moore.
And I'm just Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.
We'll be back.